Names. Manish Sonthalia, Vice President and Fund Manager with Motilal Oswal AMC, joins us live. Manish, great to have you back. Thank you for joining us. Manish, do you think we are in a spot of bother once again because the core economy has not bottomed out, earnings are not gangbusters, Reserve Bank of India has sucked out all the liquidity and FMCG stocks are looking slightly toppy?
Yeah, I think numbers out of HUL and Nestle seem to suggest that we could be headed down because the markets will only fall if the FMCG and the consumer-related stocks fall. There is a lot of iffiness regarding your FMCG stocks as of now, but I am not so sure whether markets want to believe that FMCG stocks could come down because valuations are definitely expensive. But what would happen would depend on where the money from the FMCG stocks is going to go, and there is no clear answer for that. At least you have some decent visibility about these stocks, but otherwise, rest of the sectors, materials, PSU banks, and your capital goods, these are the vulnerable sectors. They seem to be falling every day, but their collective weightage in the headline indices is just about 11%. So even if these stocks tank, the headline indices don't tank. So for the markets to fall, yes, the FMCG stocks will have to fall, but I'm not so sure whether the FMCG stocks are just ready to fall as of now.
Just one stock that I want to talk about, Natco Pharma. We just chatted with the management as well, and it's locked in a 20% move right now. That's Natco Pharma in trade for you. 589 is where the stock is. Remember, they've received a favorable US ruling on Copaxone patent case as well, and they may now be looking at launching the generic version via Mylan in May 2014. Of course, this drug is used for the treatment of multiple sclerosis, so watch out for this one, Natco Pharma, and a very good move coming in that one. Manish, how does one approach the pharma space, because it's so divergent? On one hand, you have names like a Wockhardt and Ranbaxy, and on the flip side, you also have the likes of Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, or for that matter, and Natco, which seem to be holding up.
Yeah, I think Natco with their, this Copaxone approval which has come, they are going to be a 30% beneficiary of and 70% goes to Mylan. I think top line is going to be something like 1,000 crores for them. Drug is going to go generic May 2014. I think they should make something like 15% margins, assuming that there will be a 70% drop in prices and they'll retain 20% market share. So yeah, $30-40 million is what comes to them. Looks like a good entry point for Natco. But coming to your previous point on pharma, I think it's going to be very divergent, and import alert is one thing which one needs to watch out for. That's going to be a big bane for stocks which fall within that ambit. We have seen that with Ranbaxy, we've seen that with Wockhardt, but bet on companies which have a good pipeline of products. They are slightly into complex manufacturing, with Sun Pharma and the others are capable of doing. That is why they maintain very high margins of 40% plus. I think these stocks will continue to do well. They could see multiple expansions, prices to earning multiple expansion. It's a safe bet, a defensive bet. One should be overweight pharma at this point in time. That is what I think.
Manish, but if I look at your last declared portfolio, you have a decent exposure to consumer names. You own Glaxo Consumer, arguably, which is one of the most expensive consumer stocks listed on Indian exchanges. You also have a decent exposure to Emami. So as of now, are you looking at reducing your exposure to consumer stocks, or you are looking at riding the tide further?
In fact, we have been buying even at current prices, both the names which you mentioned, and if you have read Glaxo PLC's report which came out, the parent company, implications are that the Indian business will continue to do very well, and we are expecting something like a 20% plus sort of a profit growth for this quarter. Top line growth should be in the region of 15-16%. So I'm not so sure, if the numbers keep on coming, whether there is a case for P multiple contraction. I have my doubts, because at least you have some decent visibility about earnings. Yeah, that prices to earning multiples for the near term are slightly expensive, but what is the alternative? Do you want to buy into stocks where there is no visibility on earnings, and they may be value traps rather than having actual value? So I don't want to play a contrarian just for the sake of it, I think these companies do have visibility in earnings, and even if valuations are slightly expensive in the medium to long term, growth will take care of the valuations.
Manish, what about IT? Because again, Wipro as well, and the street seems to be focusing more on what the management commentary was in terms of what they may do going forward, and they've clearly liked the guidance.
Yeah, I think they talked positive about the guidance. So markets were not so much fixated on what the company delivered. Even there, in constant currency terms, they were at the upper end of their guidance. Valuations are something which is very comfortable for Wipro per se, 13.5 times earnings on the current year basis seem to pricing no growth. So if the company is talking slightly positive, then within the available names that you have, and I would be more focused on the large cap names rather than the mid cap names. TCS is slightly on the elevated side in terms of valuations, but Infy and Wipro seem to have that comfort. So we have Infosys in our portfolios. It's time to look even at Wipro at current prices.
Manish, but Infosys is up more than 17-18% from the result. Their result came on 12th of July, and if you look at the stock from 12th of July, it's up about 17-18%. Do you think markets are pricing in too much of optimism when it comes to a turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, you can't extrapolate last quarter numbers into the current quarter numbers, that is the July to September quarter, and even the management, they have guided that there will be margin compression to the extent of 300 basis points. But that will be taken care of by currency. So on a status quo basis, some optimism is being built into the magic of Narayana Murthy, and whether that happens or not, only time will tell. But when the results came out on 12th of July, and we have been holding the shares for quite some time, market had no expectation. Now markets are factoring in some sort of a growth. And if Wipro and others are also delivering a positive commentary, and TCS have always commented on the positive side, I don't think that really Infosys has got lack of talent, that they are going to lag behind in terms of industry-wide growth. And there is a tailwind in the IT industry per se, but one needs to be slightly careful about valuation. So TCS may not have that valuation comfort, but these two have. So the valuations may just hold on even at current prices. So there's no case for actually getting rid of IT stocks at current prices, but selectively, one could really add into these names, because this is another sector which provides some sort of a visibility, but one needs to be careful about valuations.
What about banks, Manish? For how long or how many more quarters would they continue to be hit by asset quality?
No, I think for Aisha, it's not so much about the asset quality now. That seems to be, that was there in the price. That now the bigger question is on the liability franchise. Asset side was a concern. Now there's a concern on the liability side, because wholesale funded banks are going to see massive compression in margins because short-term rates have spiked. You have an inverted yield curve. Long-term rates, you really don't know what signal RBI is going to give tomorrow. But banks which have stable CASA ratios are going to be beneficiary on the liability franchise side. So I think asset quality continues to remain a concern, and if the economy doesn't bottom out, and if there is no easing of liquidity, then the NPA situation is only going to aggravate further. So likes of HDFC Bank, State Bank, they have some decent liability franchise. So stick to the large cap banks. That is what we are doing. Go slightly underweight on the sector. Try to avoid NBFCs to the extent possible. Only buy into NBFCs which have good yield on advances, and not financing too much of riskier assets like gold, etc. I think that's the way to play out banks currently.
Manish, so at the current juncture, what would you describe as a group or a name where earning visibility is decent and valuations are not that rich?
I think we are focusing in our portfolios on these three sectors. It is the consumer space, it's selectively on the bank side, and the export theme, whether it be actual export or dollar earnings and rupee costs, or import substitutes, so the likes of oil, ONGC and cane. These are some of the themes that we are focusing on. We are not so much fixated about valuations per se, because the other sectors just don't have any visibility. So if you talk about capital goods, they may be cheap and there's no denying that fact, but you really don't have any visibility on earnings and it may just get cheaper. So won't want to take that call. If there is some visibility, then there's going to be a rotation trade, then you could see the FMCG consumer names slightly come off. But otherwise, headline indices just won't fall unless and until there is a crack in consumer names, and because of lack of alternatives, I don't see that happening quite soon.
You own Kane because that is one stock which has been dog of a stock. Attractive valuation, strong dividend yield of 4%, and it really has done nothing in last 1 year. What is the big overhang there?
Yeah, market seems to be slightly apprehensive of what's going to happen to the cash which is being generated by Kane on an ongoing basis. 14,000 crores worth of cash generated, but whether that's going to be used for Vedanta Aluminium or Sterlite Energy, one needs to be too sure about that. But management commentary has always been on the positive side, saying that the cash belongs to Kane India. They have also committed 20% dividend payout ratio, which was an overhang earlier, but markets has its own doubts about all these commentary. So we'll have to wait and see how the cash released by the company gets used, and that could trigger a re-rating on the stock.
Manish, good chatting with you. Appreciate you taking the time out and speaking with us today. That's the call coming in the market. Let's just revisit what the Nifty rate is currently at.